Hello, welcome back to my channel, Simply Soulful Vibrations, and this is Nika Deshay, and I'm coming to you to talk about today a traumatizing time that I had in my life. This was back in 2013. I spent 30 plus days in the hospital fighting for my life. So let's get with it. Let's get to this story. I'm just going to start off by saying I was having problems to where, woman problems, and I was having, periods, and they were so painful. They were so painful, like unbearable, to where I would be bedridden for the first 3 days of my menstruation, to where the pain would hurt all in my legs, thighs, my behind, everywhere when I come on my periods, and I would bleed so heavy, so heavy. So I ended up going into the hospital to have a partial hysterectomy. So I had the partial hysterectomy, and I went home. And about 3 days later, not even 3 days later, it might have been two, 1.5, something like that. A couple days later, I started having severe stomach pain. I mean, this pain was like, I have 4 children. I had 2 of my children natural, and 2 of them I had the epidural. When I say this pain was unbearable, this pain, had never felt any pain like it before. So I ended up going to the emergency room, and I had a fever, and come to find out, I had set up abscess in my tummy from, the surgery. And I don't understand how I set up those abscess, because the surgery was done vaginally. The hysterectomy was done vaginally. But I ended up setting up abscess in my stomach. So they did x-rays or whatever, and they ended up admitting me into the hospital. And from there on, everything started failing. My kidneys, everything started shutting down. And in some type of way, I got I got pneumonia in both lungs, both of my lungs. So from that day on, every time the doctors came in, they was like, you might not make it through the night. We want to move you to ICU. We want to move you to ICU because you might not make it through the night. And I was like, no, I never, I never just, I wasn't accepting it. And I was running fever, and I was in so much pain. And I mean, it was to where the every time that I went downstairs for x-ray, I was coming back up with a bag that was in my stomach. So within that 30 days, I had like 7 or 8 bags that's in my stomach, because these abscess that's like grapefruit size was all in my stomach, and they were shutting down my kidneys and liver and close to my lungs and in my ribs. So I had these 7 bags that were draining blood and pus, and it was just a horrible time. It was a horrible time in my life. And every day the doctors came in, they were like, you getting worse, you got to have blood transfusions, because my blood was so infected that they had to, some how they say, clean it out. So I end up having to have multiple blood transfusions. And it just went on for days and days. I had pneumonia in my lungs so bad that every time they would try to lay me back to try to do something to me, or try to lay me back to do anything, it would feel like that someone was holding me underwater and I was drowning, because this all the fluid I had in my lungs. So I had to sleep. I had to sleep sitting up. And I mean, I had to sleep sitting straight up in the bed. in the bed. And every day they just came in, and I was going downstairs and I was coming back, and they was saying, well, you know, you got another abscess here, you got another abscess there, and you might not make it. We want to move you to ICU. And I kept saying no. I kept saying no. I kept saying no. You know, I don't want to go to ICU. If something gonna happen, and go happen right here where I'm at. This where I started. This where I'm gonna end it. But what I didn't do, I didn't sit up there. I didn't prepare myself to die. When they kept telling me that, I didn't accept that in my mind. I didn't start preparing my children. I didn't start preparing, you know, my mother. She was there with me the whole time. They tried to give my mother a job at the hospital because she was doing their job. My mother got me up no matter how bad I was hurting. She would say, you're not finna lay here and just, you know, just let yourself go away like this. She'd get me up. She'd shower me. My mother woke up in the middle of the night taking me to the bathroom. They taught her how to change my, change the fluid, drain the fluid from my bags and all of that. My mother was there with me, you know, every day, you know, and it was a struggling process. So in order for me, you know, to start, you know, getting better, I had to have blood transfusions, and I had to have all these things done. And they had drawn so much blood from me that my arms were so sore and bruised up. It looked like I had, I don't know, like just big bruises, big red bruises to where they couldn't draw blood from my arms no more. So I ended up having to get what they call a PICC line surgically put in my arm in order for them to get blood, because they couldn't draw it no more. My arms just had dried up and they were so bruised and hurt. My arms were so sore. And I could talk about this without crying now, because I look back now and I see why I lived. Even though those doctors was coming in and telling me every day, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it through the night, this is getting worse, your lungs are getting worse, this is shutting down, that is shutting down. I didn't sit up there and I didn't prepare myself to die. I didn't sit up there and put in my mind, well, this, you know, I'm about to die. I think it was because of my fight, the fight that I lived. And no matter how, you know, and they was like, well, in order for the pneumonia just to not just take over you, you have to get up and move around. So my mom would get me up out the bed and set me in the chair. And I had so many tubes in my stomach and abscess in my stomach that I could eat 3 grapes and be full. I didn't eat, really didn't eat anything that whole time I was in our belly, could even drink enough to take my medicine. So most of the medicine that they gave me, they gave it to me through IV, because I couldn't take nothing through my, through my mouth. And that I could say those 30 plus days was the worst time that I ever had in my life. But I know that my mindset is what kept me alive, because if I would have listened to those doctors and just started preparing myself and preparing my family and preparing my kids, and if my mother just would have listened to them and said, you know, we need to start preparing for this, and we never had that talk. The whole time we was there, we never had that talk about, well, we need to prepare for this if this would happen. My mama kept saying, you coming home, you know. She'd get me up, and I was so weak that I could take 3 steps and I was out of breath. It's like I was gonna pass out, and that's how bad the pneumonia had affected my lungs. Even after I got out the hospital, I went home with like 4 or 5 bags still in me, and my mom still had to, you know, be my nurse or whatever, you know, give me my meds and make sure that those things in my stomach stayed clean. But a year, I even after that, I became depressed. I became so depressed because I was always in pain. I was always in pain, and even with me having a partial hysterectomy, I was still having, you know, a lot of problems, you know, with to where I end up later on to where having a full hysterectomy. And I just want to say, any woman out there that's going through anything or have went through anything like that, that I do not regret any of it. Like having a hysterectomy, I do not regret any of it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, because the pain that I was going through every month was not worth having. But this is something that I just want to come on and share, because I'm just like, if you sit back and you let people tell you what's going to be your last, when's going to be your last, that this is not going to happen, this is not going to happen, that not going to happen, you can't listen to people. You can't listen to people, but it's the fight in you that's going to keep you pushing. That's the fight in me, the fight that my mom had. My sister and my brother-in-law, they were there. The fight that they, the faith that they had in me kept me alive. The fight that I had kept me alive. And the only thing that I thought about when I was in the hospital for those 30+ days is my 4 children. I didn't think about me, I thought about my 4 children. I wanted to stay alive for them. And I just think about now, how far I have come. And I changed so much in my life. Like after that, it's a lot of things that I went through still physically, and it took me a while to bounce back after that, because after your kidneys and stuff and you have pneumonia, it take a while for your immune system and your body to build back up for you to be healthy again. So I'm just saying, like, you may waking up is a miracle. If you wake up in pain and it's sometimes hard for you to move, it's sometimes hard for you to get out of bed, just know waking up is a miracle. You looking at me, and I'm a walking, talking miracle. I am a miracle, and this is how I know miracles do happen. They can happen, because when people counted me out, God counted me in. And I'm sitting here telling you about this because I know. When they were telling me that you're not going to make it through the night, and I couldn't breathe on my own. I had to have oxygen. Everything was shutting down. I had to have blood transfusion, the worst that it got. But I never set it up in my mind that I'm finna go, that it was time for me to go. If anything, I fought. And some days you're going to have to do that. Some days you're going to have to fight. Some days you're not going to feel like it. Some days you're not going to want to. Every day is not going to be perfect, but you're going to have to fight through it. Every day ain't going to be perfect. Everything in your life is not going to be perfect. But if you could get something positive out of your day, then you have had a good day. You have had a good day. And I just want to share my story with you, because the reason why I'm sharing it, because I want to motivate people. I want to uplift people like me, because we need that, especially women. We need that. I want to uplift us. And if you like this video, press like for me, and please subscribe to my channel, and may blessings pour down upon you and your family. Thank you.